if people get cramp at night, have some decent salt by the bed,
Yeah.
either, a flaky salt or a mountain salt, and just have two or three licks of salt, and the cramp will go almost immediately. Before we dive into this week's episode, let's talk about a brand we both genuinely love, Cytoplan. You've probably heard us mention them before, and that's because their supplements are next level.
Yes, Cytoplan has been part of my routine for a while now. They just get it when it comes to health. Their whole approach is rooted in science and totally in tune with nature.
Exactly. Their formulas are bioeffective, which basically means the nutrients are in forms your body actually recognizes and uses properly and at the appropriate levels. Cytoplan is used and trusted by health practitioners across the country. Their formulas are developed by nutritional therapists and backed by over 3 decades of clinical insight. You really can feel the quality when you take them.
Plus, it's not just about what's in the bottle, it's the mission behind it too. Cytoplan is 100% owned by a charitable foundation, which means everything they do is about helping people live well for longer. It's not about trends or quick fixes, it's about real, lasting health.
That is so wonderful to know. And whether it's our energy, perimenopause, menopause itself, sleep, immunity, or just staying on top of your health, they've got you covered. You can also get a free health questionnaire and a consultation by ringing the helpline.
So, if you're ready to take ownership of your health, check out Cytoplan, powered by nature, proven by science, and rooted in purpose. We'll pop the link and an exclusive 15% discount code in the show notes. Hello, I'm Karen Mellers.
Hello there, I'm Dr. Rosy Daniel.
You've just tuned in to Alive and Loving It, and we're here to help you bring joy and energy back to your life. Hello, beautiful ones. Thank you so much for joining us again this week. We have a very special day today. We're actually recording on the 3rd of June, and it is our Evelyn's 60th birthday today.
Da, da, da. I know.
Happy birthday.
I am
Happy
having the
birthday.
best time and I've had the
Aw.
best weekend ever. So yeah, very glad to join this and today. Yeah,
Oh, wonderful. It's
very
just so
grounding.
great that she's with us, Rosie, isn't it? And we're all together
Incredible.
virtually.
Incredible.
Mm.
But we're glad to know you've already had a surprise party
Yes.
and that you're
Yes.
not too hungover and that you
No.
can still talk and see. So
I
that's
couldn't, I can form sentences again, so that's all good.
because we know your husband's a bit of a mixologist, isn't
He
he?
is. He
Yeah.
is. Coconut margaritas. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you stick to 2, you're good.
Any more than 2, that's it. Yeah.
No.
So we are episode 46 today. Oh my goodness, we're racking up these numbers.
You are.
And today we have Evelyn with us again, amazing. And we are going to talk about natural family first aid. So really important because, we need this every single day. We're not just talking about the big health challenges that come across us, but the little things every single day. Why do you think, Rosie, that home first aid skills have become more important in the recent years? Why are we focusing on this now?
2 big reasons. One is because we know that the NHS is under so much pressure that going into an A&E department might involve a 3, 4, 5-hour wait before you get seen. And also because how many of us, when that problem happens, that injury or bite or sprain, are caught short, because we haven't bought the bandage, we don't have the creams, we don't have the antiseptics, and we don't have our treasure chest full of the kind of amazing natural health goodies that you're going to tell us about.
Oh, you've given them away to someone. That's normally the case.
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
I thought you were saying I'd given something away.
No,
Well,
no, 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 no.
that's
I mean,
pretty normal. But you're so right. You give that spray or that first aid thing to somebody, and then you don't replace it.
mhm.
So, with the holidays approaching, we thought how great it would be to get ourselves organised and to
Yeah.
actually create a first aid kit
Nice.
and be prepared, and just, so that the next time anything comes around, that we're prepared, and we can just be that beautiful mother, sister, daughter, friend, who can come to the person's aid.
And we can share the knowledge as well, because I think as a society, we might have lost confidence a little bit in dealing with some of these things, that we immediately go to, oh my gosh, somebody else, some health professional has got to do it for me.
Mm.
But I remember when I was little, I fell over, my grandma dealt with it. There was never a question of, oh, let's get you to A&E. She knew what to do. So it feels good to be sharing some of that information as well, doesn't it?
Mm.
So, yeah, I mean, where do we start then, Rosie?
I'm going to start with a whacking great big thing, which can save a life. And it's only natural in as much as it originated from the willow tree, salicylic acid, otherwise known as aspirin.
Mm.
Did you know that if somebody is starting to have a heart attack or a stroke, if you put a soluble aspirin under their tongue, that can stop the clot from developing, and it can save their life.
Wow.
Did you know
No,
that?
I didn't know that.
This is a biggie, that if we can all arm ourselves in our handbag, in our briefcase, with some soluble aspirin, just so that it's there at that moment of crisis. So that's one little first aid thing. And another one that I discovered by accident is how to get rid of a visual migraine, because I get them. And at one time it happened, and I was lecturing in a hall with 1,000 surgeons, and it was a very, very high profile gig. And I did not want to say, ever so sorry, folks, I've got a visual migraine. And the only thing I had in front of me was about a litre of water. And I just intuitively glugged down this whole litre of water, and it went away. And it had got to the point where I couldn't even see the audience. So anybody who suffers from visual migraine, that's something that works for me every single time. I'm
Wow.
not sure if it works with the kind of pain type, but do let me know. But I think we can just really expand this out, because if we imagine we've got a lovely box, a lovely first aid
Yeah.
box, and we're going to put our goodies in there, I think it would be great to have some kit, some bandages, some gauze, some dressings, some antiseptic spray, and then some sticky tape, maybe a triangular bandage for if you have you need to put your arm in a sling, just those kinds of things. And you know what you never have in your box? Your scissors.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
someone always nicks your scissors. Attach them to the box with a piece of string. And some gloves, some sterile gloves, because obviously, we don't want to wade in, and if somebody's got an abrasion or a cut or something, we don't want to infect it. We want to clean it and keep it sterile. But I know that, and tweezers is another goodie. I have a slightly funny story about that, because I went to Ibiza with a pair of gorgeous girlfriends, and we were all dressed up and all glammed up and just walking into this beautiful bar. And out of three of us were just walking through the door, and the other work friend had gone missing, and she was always known for being a little bit of a trouble. So turned around and she was in the blinking bushes. She was saying, I found a prickly pear. I found a prickly pear. Well,
It found her.
it found her whole hand
Oh
full
dear.
of prickles. So I now know the Spanish word for tweezers. Pinzas.
Excellent.
Pinzas.
Very useful.
Very useful. But obviously it's a biggie. And my partner Mike swears by rescue cream for bringing splinters out, rather than going digging for them. he'll always put that. But I've also seen recently that a combination of vinegar and baking soda will cause a splinter to come to the surface.
I think vinegar and baking soda do everything, don't they? It's either one or the other. And then if you alternate with both, you're going to end up with some resolution, aren't you?
Yeah.
The whole world to be put right with vinegar and baking powder.
Or you blow the place up, one or the other, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
tell you what we have to carry everywhere at the moment is a tick card.
Ooh.
Because they are rife in Scotland, and our little dog, thank goodness she's white because you can see them really easily, but she runs through the grasses and she comes out and they're all trying to get underneath her armpits. So this little tick card is available everywhere. They sell them in petrol stations all over Scotland, and it has it's like a credit card, but the corner is cut out. So you just slip it underneath the tick and gently prise, and it'll bring the whole tick out. Because as soon as you see those, you want to get them out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I've seen ones that are like a little hook, because they say that you have to twist them out. Because you can, but I'd never heard of the tick card. That's interesting.
Tick card. I thought I got it in my purse here, but I
And
haven't.
the reason it's so important is because you can get Lyme's disease.
Lyme's disease,
Borreliosis from ticks.
Yeah.
Which
a dear friend of mine did contract Lyme disease, and it is not pleasant.
Yeah. And a thermometer.
Yeah.
While we're at it, a thermometer, an eye bath. A torch, so you can see what you're doing, is a goodie to have in your box. Even a space blanket, for if somebody's got themselves hypothermic, I know that's a bit of a luxury, but a silver foil space blanket for if somebody's got themselves really, really, really cold.
Good idea.
And needs warming up, coming off a mountain or that kind of thing. People can get awfully chilled.
Yeah, cold water swimming, definitely. By a lake in the Cotswolds where I was last year, we had a lady who very fit, very healthy. I mean, this is you can't say that I am fit, therefore these things are not going to happen to me. They really don't know. And she'd been swimming around the lake, and as she came out, 5-10 minutes later, her inside was just so cold. But they were really well equipped there, the first thing, with blankets and hot chocolate and to get her body temperature up from the inside. So important, because there's a lot of people cold water swimming now. It's a big
I've
trend.
been hearing after this heat wave of people who've lost their lives because of the shock of the cold water.
Yeah.
Because the expert that was on the radio was saying that this cold shock, the gasp that people take if they jump in, and it activates a reflex where people take that massive gasp, and that can pull in 1.5 liters of water into the lungs and be fatal. So I think as good for your health as cold water swimming is, I think we've got to be mindful, especially with young ones who maybe don't even consider how cold the water is when they first go in. Yeah.
Have you got some lifesavers, Evelyn, that you always have in your...
I think nature provides us with 2 very strong first aid essentials. And so I'm going straight into the plants. But actually, with scissors, when you said about the scissors, I had a little recollection about a pharmacy I worked in, and there were loads of scissors dangling on differently, from A to B, and from C to D, and F to G. And it's because they were getting so fed up with people nicking the scissors that they tacked them onto the wall. So yeah, it's always good to have more scissors than what you need, isn't it? But as far as nature's first aid essentials, I think you've got so many areas covered if you have arnica and calendula, which they're from the same family. So they're from the Asteraceae family, which is actually the daisy family. And they work in a very similar way, which I didn't appreciate. So there's lots of evidence coming through of the different pathways of like arnica and calendula. And essentially it works with your NF-kappa B pathway, it's all about pain and swelling and edema, inflammation. And essentially it doesn't deactivate, it reduces the activation of your NF-kappa B, which means that your pain pathway is reduced, and also the enzymes related to it. So there's localized swelling and inflammation reduced as well for both calendula and arnica, which I just find amazing. But with that, your arnica is great for all sorts of bumps and for bruises. And a lot of people know about bruises with arnica, but arnica is so much more because it's a natural anti-inflammatory and analgesic, so it's a painkiller. And essentially, it can be used for sprains, for strains, for muscle ache, for joint pain, for bone ache. Taken homeopathically, it's reported that it could be used for fatigue and for shock. I mean, a lot of people would use it for jet lag and things like that. So like a bit of a trauma to your circadian rhythms. So generically, arnica can be used for loads. Specifically, herbal arnica applied topically can be used for, like those kind of small joints and pains and strains and sprains. And I always find if you take the homeopathic or diluted preparation orally, then the two kind of mate each other. And I defy anyone not to feel some amelioration of their pain because you've taken an oral preparation of the prepared arnica, not herbal, prepared arnica, and you've applied herbally the arnica. And I just think that combination it does such a multitude. I mean, the only thing you can't do with arnica is you can't apply it to broken or open skin because it can cause sensitization if you do that. But otherwise, arnica, and with other comorbidities and other medication, there's nothing in the monograph to say that there's a problem, contraindications with other meds. So it's really useful for those people who have got complicated disease states as well. So if you're scratching your head thinking, what do I do for someone that's got on lots of painkillers or has got diabetes or cardiovascular disease? So for me, that is just a fabulous way to go for bumps and for bruises. Yeah.
I always get my clients who are going in for surgery to have it because I think it also is very good with the shock element to the system, isn't it? So I get them pretty much as soon as they are coming around from the anesthetic to start taking the homeopathic arnica. And the other thing, I had a friend here over the weekend who did some epic gardening work for me, very, very wiry lady, very strong, who moved a ton of earth and it, just incredible. But she took arnica before she went to bed because she knew she'd overstretched her muscles.
Yes.
So I think you can take it in that context a bit as a preventive, or if you've suddenly done a great big hike and you're not used to it, some arnica before you go to bed, or the arnica bath milk.
Yeah, that's my go-to every single
Gorgeous.
time.
Yeah.
With my scoliosis, I can hurt myself very easily. Too much sitting, too much walking, too much gardening, and I always go too much. That is just me. That's my picture. Always does too much. And as soon as I feel it, I'm like, I'm just in that bath, straight in the arnica bath, arnica tablet, arnica muscle balm. I also love from Weleda the cryo gel. It's got menthol in it. There are other companies that do this as well. Elemis do a great one. And I love that feeling of the warmth and then the cold. Yeah, I'm right as rain again the next morning. So it's good to test and try these things because you're not going to hurt yourself, as you were saying, Evelyn.
Yeah.
There's not that many, there's no contraindications with so try it and see which one works for you.
But that is very relevant what you're saying, because there are injuries that respond really well to cold.
Yeah.
And there are others that respond really well to heat.
Yes.
And the point of coldness is to vasoconstrict.
Yeah.
So if you have bruised yourself, you know, or sprained something, and you put the cold on, either physical cold with ice or frozen peas or a cryo gel like that, you're shutting down the leakage of blood
Yeah.
into the tissue, and you're
Right.
preventing that swelling until the body has a chance to form a clot, you know. But there are other times when warmth and a hot compress
Yeah.
might be the thing. What would you say about that, Evelyn?
I'd say that individually, you know yourself. I mean, I really hate cold. So I don't go for, I love the smell of like a cryogel. It's got menthol in it, etc. And it's a lovely feel because there's aloe vera in it. But it's me, it's warmth every time. And you can, whichever suits you, you can exaggerate the contact time and the temperature by using a compress. So say you've got a resistant pain in your shoulder, and you can load some gauze, apply that to the sore area, and put maybe a heat pad over it as well. So increasing the temperature, increasing the contact time, it can just, maybe get a little bit deeper into the area that needs to be touched. And again, if cold is your thing, then you can use a cool pack, but just make sure you're not applying something very cold directly to the skin. So there's got to be some cotton there. And if you put that on top of a compress as well, then the results are amazing, actually.
I think anywhere where there's been constriction, so, you know, those of us who get sort of solid shoulders with sort of hard muscle, I've got one right now.
Oh dear.
Thanks, Karen. But I think those places respond to the heat.
Yes.
Because what's happening is it's vasodilatation and blood is flowing in. If you've got a tension headache, sort of putting a hot water bottle around your shoulders and just seeing can you open the blood flow back up. But if you're bleeding, the cold to just shut down that bleeding. Obviously, if it's really serious bleeding, we're talking about a tourniquet, you know, to try and control the blood flow. But what about, you mentioned just now aloe vera. Let's just talk about burns and sunburn, Evelyn. What would you think
Okay.
of that?
I do like the combination of arnica with nettle, so Arctica ardens, and that's the dwarf nettle, the stinging nettle. So if you imagine the reaction you would have if you stuck your hand into some nettles and shook it around, and it would come up with swelling, with edema, with redness and itching and stinging, and that's what you're trying to switch off with when you put a combination of the Arctica ardens, especially with the arnica, because it is a natural anti-inflammatory, because it is a pain reliever as well. So it's a lovely combination. And if you can get that in the gel form or a lotion form, then it's really cooling as well, because the form is cooling. So always handy to have in the kitchen, quite near the grill element.
Do you know, for me, it's curling my hair with those
Oh,
tongs.
yeah,
The
yeah,
amount of time I've still got a scar there where I did the last one, but that
yeah.
Woolida
Brutal.
Comboduron gel is
Yeah.
Pomodoro gel.
absolute savior for that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think aloe vera is incredibly soothing for the skin
Yes.
and the mucous membranes internally.
Mhm.
And I know Cytoplan do a liquid aloe vera inner leaf gel,
Okay.
which is pretty magical. Because if you come in and you've overcooked yourself in the sun, you can literally, you know, put it into a sponge or a cloth and dab it all over yourself to take the sting and to stop the skin from blistering up. But I've also used that Comboduron lotion from Weleda and found that
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
amazing.
Good for insect bites as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what about Cantharis?
Cantharis is Spanish fly, and
Oh,
Cantharis is generally used in homeopathic potency for the kind of burning, stinging on urination. And also, it can be used for burns on the skin as well. So you might want to use that if you've got like quite a bad, sunburn on your shoulders, etc. So it's very much in the profile for cantharis for external burning, and probably more associated with cystitis, actually.
Well, cystitis is a little horror, isn't it?
Mm.
I'm sure every woman listening has been caught out with cystitis. It always happens at the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Always happens when the GP's shut. So having some cantharis, would you go for 6s or 30s or more?
Whatever you can get your hands on, you can tailor it to suit yourself. Generally, when the symptoms return, it's time to take another dose. Sometimes with a 6C remedy, you have to repeat the dose more often.
Right.
And with a 30C, you might get longer
Okay.
in between relapses. But if anything like that happens for 24, 48 hours, you need to see someone else about it, really.
Yes, I'm
Yeah,
just more thinking in the period, before you can get help,
absolutely.
and there are sachets, aren't there, of cranberry, to help change
Yeah,
the pH of the urine.
exactly. Yeah. And it
Mm.
does sound a bit cruel to say to someone to drink more fluid, because that's when they're uncomfortable, but actually diluting the concentration of the urine in the bladder really helps as well. But yes, using salts to bring down, to up the pH to make it more alkaline, absolutely.
You've
Yeah.
just mentioned the magic words salt and salts.
Yes.
I know that, at the moment, there's quite a bit of focus on electrolytes and people taking electrolyte drinks when they've been exerting themselves to restore the balance, because the biggies that we need are the sodium, the potassium, the magnesium. But one of the things, it's a very simple first aid trick. If people get cramp at night, have some decent salt by the bed,
Yeah.
either a flaky salt or a mountain salt, and just have 2 or 3 licks of salt, and the cramp will go almost immediately. You might
Nice.
need to chase it with a glass of water, but usually cramp at night is because we've dehydrated and we've sweated out sodium, because we
Yeah.
lose salt in our sweat. So I know there's a lot of focus on reducing salt so we don't all get high blood pressure, but we need a certain amount of salt, and the contractility of our muscles is on a threshold with the levels of salt in the tissue fluid.
I was just going to say, Rosie, that's a really important point about salts, is because we've had a trend of low salt for many, many years, to the point where people are drinking lots of water and not taking in any salt. Now, table salt, definitely, which is just processed sodium, is really bad for you, but you can get the most beautiful salts now.
Yeah.
I've got blackthorn salt, which is obviously Scottish, and they create it on this beautiful blackthorn tree, and the crystals are so beautiful. The taste is unbelievable, and it's got beautiful minerals in there. So as
Yeah.
well as sodium, you've got lots of other minerals as well. And I like to sprinkle a bit when the food is cooked, just sprinkle it on the top. But yeah, I'm on the cheer side of salt. I think we should start a campaign for yay salt, because it's gone too far the other way. We talk about
It
these
has.
extremes. We
It
need to
has.
bring it back. Yeah.
I think, hasn't Himalayan, the pink salt, got something crazy like 56 minerals in it?
Yeah, so good for you in small quantities. But I
Mm.
think people have lost that education of why we actually need salt. But just going back to sunburn a little bit, which is
Yeah.
in my mind because I was in Mallorca last week, I use skin food on sunburn. Now, I think the reason why I use that is because of calendula. Is that
Correct.
helping my skin burn? I use two
So,
things, the skin food, and I also use the sea buckthorn oil.
okay.
Those two are my go-to to take on holiday.
So the calendula is the other natural first aid essential, also part of a daisy family, and it's got such a broad spectrum of action. It's antifungal, antibacterial, anti-hemorrhage, antiviral, antihistamine, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. I've missed a few.
That's the most I've ever heard you remember, though. So it gets better every time I
There's
hear
always
it.
more. There's always more. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have that in your first aid kit? Because it does
Yeah.
so much. When I was doing pharmacy locums, I mean, sometimes people will come in and you've got absolutely no idea what's going on. So calendula is a good place to start with. If it's a surface area, if it's a rash, idiopathic rash, no idea what the cause is, but essentially sometimes you don't see them again when you use something like calendula because of that broad spectrum of action, which is lovely. And the skin food does have calendula in it. It also has chamomile in it, and the two of those are, you'll often find them in like baby ranges, and they're often together because they work synergistically with each other. So 1 + 1 is more. And the antibiotic and antimicrobial action of both just really work together, and it just helps skin to develop in a really healthy way without too much interference. Yeah, it's a nice
A
combination.
couple of things that are always in my cupboard. One is zinc and castor oil cream
Mm.
or ointment. The cream is absorbed because it's aqueous. The ointment is more sticky. It's incredible for healing. Anybody who's had a baby with a nappy rash and put on zinc cream will know that, next time you change the nappy, what was a red raw bum can be, just all beautifully healed, more or less in one or two nappy changes. But often if things are red and sore, or if that, again, you're not supposed to put it on open cuts, but once something's starting to heal, to put it around an area that's red and inflamed and sore and just needing support to heal. And same for the mouth. I mentioned in the digestion program the how it can take the soreness out of your mouth, if you take a zinc lozenge
Right.
or sore throat.
Yeah.
And while we're there, you mentioned Ratania, didn't you, as a mouthwash? But what about cloves and clove oil if you have a really hurting tooth?
Absolutely. It's a local anesthetic, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I think Ratania is an ingredient. It's full of, it's tannin rich. I think that's where the red color comes in, and really strengthens the mucosa, and also helps with bleeding as well. But then there's quite often you'll find myrrh in with Ratania, and myrrh is ancient, isn't it? Antibacterial, antimicrobial,
Mm.
and it's good that we're still using these original ingredients because they're so worthy of being used.
Well, many people will just almost take for granted, they're brushing their teeth and there's some blood when they're spitting out their toothpaste. But
Mm.
that's not okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's not normal.
It's not
No.
normal. It's not okay. It means there's an element of gum thinning and gum disease. So the Britannia mouthwash or zinc lozenges are really ace for that.
They are
But how often does a toothache blow up on the weekend when the
Always.
every time.
always
Always at the
and
weekend.
and just sitting with just popping a whole clove next to the tooth can be just give such amazing relief.
Mm.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about digestion then for a little bit. You mentioned it then, but tummy upsets, very common, particularly if you're going on holiday and the water is different, you can easily get upset. So, what sort of things can we do for ourselves to calm the digestion?
So I did a charity walk to Peru. I did the Machu Picchu Trail.
Amazing.
And it was great. And I had a queue of people outside my tent every morning. And one would be to use a balm containing arnica in it to help with the aches and pains that they're trying to avoid that day, because it was quite a lot of walking involved. And the other, I managed to get a hold of a mixture which had things like melissa, archangelica, cloves, coriander, nutmeg, and they're all carminatives for the stomach. So stopping the smooth muscle going into spasm, because at that altitude, you don't know who's going to get altitude sickness and who's not, who's going to have a bout of diarrhea. And when you're 5,000 meters up, quite difficult to sort that out quickly. So yes, it was just very heartening that people would stand outside my tent, and they were a bit disconcerting when you're coming out in the morning, but I got over that. And they're all waiting to put the drops into their water bottle, their packs, because it just to ease. It's a very general approach, a very sensible and calming approach to stop the smooth muscle going into spasm.
Yeah.
So nice, and rehydrating as well. So.
I would have always gone with kaolin medicine, the old-fashioned
Right.
chalky kaolin, but it seems very difficult to get hold of these days. I've found, I don't know why. Do you know as a pharmacist why it's gone out of?
Yes, because there's usually a bit of morphine in there, so the two settle out, and the morphine part in Glasgow is more popular than the kaolin part. So although
Yeah.
kaolin is very good at coating the stomach and protecting it, it was the morphine part was a bit problematic.
Okay, well, please let's bring it back, the kaolin part, because the chalkiness adsorbs the toxins from the bacteria that cause the diarrhea and the spasm. But I was once staying with amazing macrobiotic cook in Holland and got a very upset tummy, and he got some kudzu, which is like arrowroot or cornstarch. So he made up this potion for me with the kudzu, and he put in some ginger and some soy to make it taste a bit nicer. And I sipped this down, and within a couple of hours, all the gripes had gone, and the stomach. With the kaolin medicine, I say take a spoonful after every loose motion. And with this homemade remedy, I could do something similar because it was just cleaning down through.
I tell you what can be quite frightening, particularly if it happens to children, is when you get trapped wind and that pain that comes like just under the diaphragm. And my eldest used to get that a lot, and we gave him fennel tea. And I'm just sort of like that sort of pain, do you know what I mean, where it can be really frightening, like there's something really bad and then it's trapped wind. The fennel tea immediately would bring up this huge burp from a child, and instantly the pain is gone. So I always take a couple of sachets of the pucker fennel tea with me wherever I go. I always take Yorkshire tea as well wherever I go on holiday. I can't go anywhere without Yorkshire tea, but I'm not sure of the health benefits of that.
Well, and if it's when trapped in the downward direction, just getting on your hands and knees, and then putting your bum in the air and your head and your shoulders down on the ground, so that you're using gravity to push, or anti-gravity to allow the wind to release. That's a great one.
I heard a great one like that for constipation as well. The stool, I think it's called. So
you raise your feet up a little bit.
You lift your feet up. This is from the gut doctor.
Yeah.
When you're on the toilet, you've got your feet raised because it puts everything in the right option, in the right place, so that it eases, and that can really help with constipation.
I can't quite picture that. What are you saying? That you're lying on the floor, are you?
No, you're on the toilet. You sit on the toilet
with a little stool, not behind you, but in front of you.
Right.
She's like, and you lift your knees up on something on a little stool, and they're called stools. I think.
Okay.
So I don't know where you can get that in your suitcase or not, but that really helps constipation.
I recommended that book. It's Dr. Enders, isn't it? And the gut. And at the book club, I've never been allowed to say another book again after that. It doesn't matter, because they said I've scarred them.
I wouldn't be without it.
No, it's great.
I guess a lot of these things that we're needing first aid for can be accidents. So along with the actual physical hurt, there's going to be some sort of emotional hurt
Yeah.
as well, and shock.
Yeah.
And what's the best thing we can do for that if we notice some? Well, how do we notice people are in shock, and what can we do for people?
Well, they might be shaking,
Mhm.
they might be literally very shook in that sense. But I think always to, help people, just asking them, how are you feeling? What are you needing? And then reassuring them, you've gone into a state of shock. But you do kind of need to know what you're doing, because, some people will need to be kept very warm if
Mhm.
there's, if they've suddenly gone. They may need to be laid flat if they've gone very dizzy, because that can affect some people in that way. But I was thinking, it's not only physical upset, there's anxiety, isn't there?
Yeah.
And people going into full-blown panic attacks.
Yeah.
And I think to put in I think it's turning from a first aid kit to a first aid suitcase, isn't it?
Yes.
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 But CBD oil, is very sedating and calming, and can help take the edge off a panic attack. But
Mhm.
so can breathing exercises. So if you can
Absolutely.
breathe with somebody, if you can start to do a box breath, a sort of countered, okay, breathe with me, in 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, and you can really get somebody to steady down
Yeah.
into a countered breath, and so we have to be prepared for that, don't we, to help people who are just tipping over, losing their balance mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the stress relief from Weleda is a great one if you've just got a little kit. In fact, all of
Yeah.
those oral sprays are just, they're maybe, 3 inches high, and fit into a kit, and
I know.
a whole range of
Yeah,
symptoms like
good
sneezing, hay
idea.
fever, and yeah.
I think homeopathics are really useful for occasions that sometimes conventionally aren't served very well. So with anxiety and stress, then there are solutions out there.
Mhm.
And just having a little bit of homeopathic knowledge. There's a very good book called The Home Prescriber by Marcus Fernandez,
Mhm.
which it doesn't have every remedy in there and it doesn't have every occasion, but as he says, it's a home prescriber and it's really useful to take on holiday with you. Maybe we can look out the code, the
Well,
international
I
code.
think
Yeah.
he said that it's free. The course, his home prescriber course, is now free on his website.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
during COVID, he put that up and made it free. I mean, I always have some pulsatilla and
Yeah.
also some belladonna,
Right.
because if people get very hot, very toxic for any reason, pulsatilla is great. But while we're on the subject of getting toxic, what about hangover cures?
Oh.
Well.
I've never had a hangover, so I don't know.
Okay.
So I
Lost all
guess
Just
credibility there.
ran out of
I
the room
know
with
you
her
did.
pants on fire.
You've lost me. You've lost me. So I used to do some lectures at Trinity University and Nottingham University, and I would say we're talking about homeopathic remedies, and it's a really good example to use having a hangover because each person has their individual stages and individual phases of a hangover. So
Hmm.
some people might want to stay indoors, not move, even opening their eyelids hurt. That would
Mhm.
be the picture of probably a bryonia hangover. Some would be irritable, nasty, ugly, cross, their total system irritated, and that's quite often nux vom. Arsenal, which is my favourite because it's really dramatic. Simultaneous vomiting and diarrhea always keeps you on your toes, but is absolutely, it's such a fast working remedy. It's incredible to watch. And then there's pulsatilla, so might get a little bit weepy, little bit down from what they might have said the night before, or needing fresh air is a big keynote. So each of the remedies have their own keynotes, and it's just a matter of mapping them and matching them up with
I
the
think
symptoms that you have.
the moral of that story is if you're going out drinking, take Evelyn with you.
But you're also giving me some top tips too, Rosie.
Yeah, I always think people who've been drinking need vitamin B complex.
Yeah.
And I think the magic Alka-Seltzer, so a lot of the problem is acidity when people have drunk too much. And so rectifying the pH with those alkaline salts, I mean, there are many different kinds of alkaline salts, but it doesn't half make a difference if people are feeling nauseated and, the use of the word people there.
Yes.
Never tried it myself.
No. So I'm going to pin you down a little bit now then. If our listeners are listening to this and thinking, well, I want to make a change straight away, what are your top 2? What would you recommend that you first put in your first aid kit?
Ooh.
That
Evelyn,
gets used the most, probably.
Okay. Evelyn, you go first.
Okay. I will take some arnica.
Yeah.
Probably topical arnica. I don't know if
What
I
do you mean
can
by that? What's topical?
herbal application arnica.
So a cream or a balm or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that. I'm going to have to narrow it down to 3, I'm afraid. I would take some arsenal because that's my remedy. I think probably constitutionally I resonate with arsenal. So if I have bouts of sickness or diarrhea on holiday, that one suits me.
Yeah.
Because of the symptoms. And usually I take something with calendula in it, maybe a few other ingredients. You said about rescue cream being really useful. I do find that if other ingredients like dog's mercury, stibium, balsam of Peru, and calendula, if I was only allowed to take one thing, that's what I would take.
Okay.
And because it's like an antiseptic, but it's a drawing agent, heals above the skin, but also organizes below the skin as well. Very good for ingrown hairs. Lots of taxi drivers in Glasgow use it because they're sitting on their bottoms a lot. So
great. Balsamicum cream.
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Love that one. What about you, Rosie?
Well, I'm going to go back where I started and say soluble aspirin.
Yeah.
And just remind everybody that it comes from the willow tree. And apparently, where salicylic acid came from was that willow trees used to be called silly sallies in folklore. So that's where it comes from. Aspirin is the best drug on the planet because it's so anti-inflammatory. It'll bring down a fever as well as killing pain. It will prevent clotting. It's a really brilliant medicine. And the zinc cream I would always have for anything burny, hot, stingy. And I think I would take something for bites and stings. We didn't cover that. An antihistamine cream such as Anthrazan or the Weleda insect bite spray, because that's obviously such a biggie when we're out and about.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have insect spray because the bugs love me. And there were not very many mosquitoes in Mallorca, but I found the 2 that were there.
Excellent. I would take you on holiday then.
Yes, they absolutely love me. And I did try an antihistamine because I'm a bit of a fear thing with them. And they, I get a red rash and they really swell up. But I only took one because I don't like the drowsiness that an antihistamine brings. I was out.
Well, I just mean a cream for if they have got you, because I'm one of those people that will blow up like crazy if I get bitten. But if I can get the antihistamine cream on or the insect bite cream on like within seconds, it can just take it away.
But I do like the Weleda one, the insect bite. It just cools it. And especially when it comes up and I want to itch it, I put it on then. And I love the smell of it. I really love the smell.
Quite earthy, but it is nice.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
really earthy. The other
Mhm.
thing I take with me is vitamin C, the soluble tablets, because when you go on a plane and, in that environment, if somebody's got a cough or the virus is in there, you can, very often I've gone on a plane journey and landed on holiday and got ill because there's been a virus in the air and my nervous system has come down and I'm
Mhm.
relaxing and then I get ill.
Open
So
doors.
I always take the soluble vitamin C
Mhm.
tablets and have 3 a day. I really dose up. If I get like a little tickle in my throat or I just feel like I'm getting under the weather, I have that boost of vitamin C.
Well, just also wearing a mask on a
Mhm.
plane, because what a bummer, your precious holiday time and you arrive and you're ill. But also seeing it's worth paying that extra 10 or 15 quid to get a seat in the front,
Yeah.
because the cleanest air comes through at the front of the plane.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So,
Cool. Good tip.
it's whooshed backwards through the plane.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then at the moment, my last one would be the hay fever spray from Weleda because my eyes have just started itching and runny nose and a few squirts under the tongue, and I'm good for a while. So it's good to review your kit every so often, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
if you don't want to be carrying a huge thing around, then make it seasonal because you're going to need different things at different times of the year.
True. Yep.
But it feels like, again, we're, sharing things that can empower people, take that responsibility, accountability back for yourself, and build your confidence with it. Because we've got an inner knowing for particularly how plants can help us. So let's share that.
And lovely Marcus, Fernandez, who did the episode for us on homeopathy, go to his site, the College of Homeopathic Education, because he does this free home prescriber course.
Yeah.
And if you're going to get these yummy Weleda products, it would support us if you do so through the portal on our website, aliveandlovingit.org, because I believe we get something like 10% as a contribution towards our podcast through that portal.
Nice.
So that's a way of helping us as well as getting amazing Weleda products.
Wonderful. Wow, what a big subject. I didn't realize it would get as juicy as it did, but we've had stools and all sorts of things. Hangovers, you name it.
Simultaneous vomiting and diarrhea. You just never know what you're going to get, do you?
No, you don't. Oh, Evelyn, thank you.
Yeah.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday, my
Thank
dear
you.
friend.
Lovely
So
to
good
see
to
you.
spend time with you on
Yeah.
your birthday. And Rosy, just amazing. Thank you, love, for sharing so much again. What a great episode.
And you too, sweetheart, Karen.
Yes.
And we're going to release Evelyn back into the wild now.
See you on the other side.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
It's so good to know that you're listening. Our community is growing bigger day by day. Now we want to engage with you and connect with you to create more opportunities to learn, love, and grow together.
The first step is to go to our website, aliveandlovingit.org, to join the community. This means that we can communicate with you directly to let you know the details of new episodes, next week's guest preview, and of all the new opportunities that we are creating for you.
And in response to the huge interest that there's been in our inspiring guests, we've created for you on the website an exciting Go Deeper page, giving you direct access to our guests and their services.
And if you're new to the podcast, we strongly recommend that you go back and listen to the earlier episodes, because we have some of the most inspiring teachers, scientists, authors, and therapists of our time sharing their wisdom with you.
Our other invitation to you is to become a guardian of Alive and Loving It and join the beautiful group of people helping this podcast and community continue to grow and reach more hearts around the world. If you visit the website, aliveandlovingit.org, you'll see our winged heart logo in the top right-hand corner, which will take you straight to our Guardian page on Patreon. And this is a platform designed specifically to support podcast and content creators.
It would mean so much to have you as part of this growing community, connecting with us, our guests, and everything we are building together. And if it feels right for you, becoming a Guardian is simply a way of supporting the podcast with a monthly contribution at whatever level feels comfortable for you.
Thank you for being with us. Keep shining, stay true to yourself, and remember, this is your time to live your fullest, healthiest life.
Until next time, keep doing what you love most in life. We are so excited to connect with you on the next episode of Alive and Loving It, and we welcome you very warmly to our Alive and Loving It community.